Hi guys, welcome back or welcome if you're new. My name is Tiana and I'm the maker behind Also Stitch, and today we have Knitting Podcast episode 6. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna continue this weekly. I hope I'll be able to stick with this because coming to next 6 months, it's gonna be very busy, both with my personal life and my business. We'll see how I will be able to keep up with this weekly, because if there won't be any progress on my knits, I don't want to bore you with repeating everything weekly. So if you don't see me every week, you just know that I had a very busy week and that I didn't have any progress on my knits. Let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Tolsta tee by Crea Bea, and this one is done in Bendigo Woolen Mills 4-ply cotton, and by far this is my most worn t-shirt. It is the fit I love the most. I love the fingering weight t-shirt, and for Australian weather this is the most appropriate yarn and garment and weight. I have realized that anything fingering weight is the most appropriate all around the year, not just in summer. Even though yes, we are in summer, and I want to apologize for the lighting. I rely on natural lighting and at the moment it's very gloomy and dark, so I apologize if today it's gonna be a bit dark and moody. Let's go with my finished object, because I do have one. Even though I had only 2 WIPs last time, I managed to finish one of them. My one and only finished object this week are Hibernal Socks by Summerly. I really enjoyed making these socks and I'm surprised how quick I finished them. I finished them in only 13 days and the design is just beautiful. I know last time I mentioned that these are cables. No, they are not. They are called mock cables. You're not using cable needle for them. They are just perfect. I went with the heel flap and gusset, and the only thing is this is a small blocker. I am usually, when it comes to blockers, size medium, or I have 25 centimeters length in leg, which is 40 size European, and I think that is 9 US, 7 UK. I'm honestly very confused with those numbers. It's 40 in European numbers. That's what I know. That's what we use in Europe. They are smaller. They are smaller than I wanted them to be. The reason is I have switched the designer. So far I have only knit from Crazy Sock Lady, like her vanilla socks, and I've used 64 stitch count and they were nice fitting, but over time they tend to stretch and they fall off my feet. Summerly has a different gauge. She has 72 for medium adult size. It was actually fitting 25 centimeters of foot length, which is my size, and I was curious to go with 72 just because most of the design is ripped and I was sure that they're gonna fit, and they do. When it comes to width, they fit very good. They are very snug, which I actually want. I want my socks to be snug, and if they stretch they will fit normal. If they don't, even better, because I don't like loose socks. My only problem was they are a bit shorter, and the reason I got confused and why I probably made them shorter was because it is also different to what I'm used from Crazy Sock Lady vanilla sock, because she has you do toe a bit longer and then foot shorter, while Summerly has you do foot longer and toe shorter. So I wasn't sure which one was gonna work best for me. I stick with Summerly because I wanted to test it, and I went with a bit shorter foot. I have shortened the foot only 4 rows, thinking it's usually also stretching lengthwise, so I want it a bit shorter. It is a lot shorter at the moment, but they're just blocked. I have not worn them yet, so I'm hoping with wear they're gonna stretch to the perfect size. I'm yet to find the perfect recipe for my socks. This is my 3rd socks, and these are gonna be actually my first socks that I'm gonna wear in footwear. So far I have only worn my socks around the house because I wasn't happy with the design or the fit, so these are gonna be the first one I'm gonna wear in my trainers and see how they go. I am looking forward to experiment and to find the perfect fit for me and my husband, so that I can just crack on more socks because this was very fun and satisfying and quick make. And I feel this year 2026 is gonna be my sock knitting year rather than beanies knitting year, because I knit a lot of beanies last year, and this year I want to focus on socks because I want to get more use out of the socks rather than collecting beanies that we are not wearing in Australia. So regarding this pattern, it is a beautiful knit. It's really engaging, it's really fast, and cables are enjoyable to knit. You can tell it is ribbed, it's very stretchy. I enjoyed this process. I loved how yarn is not one dimension. It is like, it's not variegated, it looks like hand dyed. It's pulling some other different colors. I know the lighting is not the best today. I love the process of knitting this yarn. I love the way this yarn looks. What I don't love is the feel of this yarn. It is not soft yarn. Let me double check now that is blocked. It's still not soft. It's still something that it's irritating, and I'm gonna report back how my feet are gonna react to it over time. I really want to like this yarn because it is very budget friendly, it is cheap, and I know I will be wearing through my socks because I wear Crocs around the house, and Crocs are eating socks. And I'm not gonna change my footwear just to save my socks. I need to find yarn that is cheap and durable and that it's gonna survive my Crocs life. And at the same time, I don't mind going through my socks. If they wear out, I will mend them. And after that, if they wear out again, I'm happy to let them go and knit new ones. I am very much a process knitter. I enjoy knitting, and if I have 20 pairs of socks, I will be fine. And if some of them have to go, they will have to go. That is fine. I'm not gonna be too fussed about my socks. All I need to find out the perfect recipe for my sizing. I need to find the colors that will work with my wardrobe. As much as I love this color and I would totally wear a garment in this color, it looks a bit weird on my feet. It looks bland, even though when it comes to socks, I'm only wearing black and white socks. I don't have color in socks. From the commercial socks, only black and white. When I have put this on, I was like, this is a bit bland, like it's weird. I just need to explore more. I need to explore the colors that would fit my wardrobe and my style and play with it. That's why I want to do that with a budget-friendly yarn. We'll see how that will go. When it comes to toe design from Summerlee, she is making it a bit longer and wider, while these socks are really looking rough, so please ignore that. Crazy Sock Lady makes them a bit shorter and less stitches on the top. So in the end, you have less stitches to Kitchener here. I think she has 8, while Summerlee has 16. So there is a difference in two designers that I have noticed so far. And in the end, I have to figure out which one will suit my foot better with wear and tear and fit in general. So yeah, just to point out two differences between two designers. Everything else is pretty much the same. That was the only difference that I have noticed between two designers. Overall, I'm really happy with these socks. I'm really happy with this pattern and design, and I will make another ones in some different colors, and I do recommend this pattern and this sock design. So yeah, feel free to check it out. It is called Hibernal Socks by Summerlee. So in the end, I started making size large and ended up with size small, which still fits, but it is a snug fit. Pattern gauge was 38 stitches and my gauge was between 39 and 40. It was done on 2.25 mil needles. It was on my needles for exactly 13 days and it used 62 grams of yarn, which is 255 meters. The pattern cost was $6.70 Australian dollars and the yarn cost was only 7 Australian dollars. That is so cheap. And in total, this project cost me $13.70. And that was my one and only finished object. Next, we are moving into my WIPs. I actually have two. This is my old WIP. I'll show you first my old WIP and I will show you the footage of me wearing it because my setup is very close to camera and I know I don't have a lot of space to show you things properly. That's why you will see a footage of me wearing this. My last WIP is again Ivy sweater by PetiteKnit, and this is done on 5mm needles. It is done in Isager Soft yarn. It is a beautiful yarn. It is alpaca blown chain yarn. The chain part is cotton and the alpaca is blown into the chain. It is really nice and soft. I do have to admit, while I was trying this on, I was feeling it on my neck, so we'll see in the long run how I will react to this yarn. But it is really nice and soft, and I enjoy process of working with this yarn. It is such an enjoyable knit. When it comes to progress, this is the progress down to the body. I'm quite far and I have finished one sleeve. One sleeve is completely done. I have not woven in the ends and I have left the stitch markers. I will be changing stitch markers to the plastic ones because I will be doing mid-project block, and to avoid rusting these metal ones I will switch to the plastic ones and just do the mid-project block, because when you're in the pattern on the body part, she tells you if you're using the suggested yarn, which is this yarn, blown yarn, Isager Soft yarn, she suggests you to knit additional 3 to 4 centimeters because this yarn will shrink lengthwise. I love that she has included that as a tip or note in her pattern because I wouldn't known that. I didn't gauge swatch, I didn't block because I'm spot on with her patterns, and I have figured out that I really don't have to gauge when it comes to PetiteKnit, especially if I'm using suggested yarn. So to have that note that this yarn will actually shrink lengthwise 3 to 4 centimeters was very helpful. I have finished one sleeve and she asks you to do the sleeve every 7 centimeters for only 5 decreases, and I actually did 8 because my sleeves were running short. They might be too big now, but this is just an easy bind off, like a in pattern bind off, so I wasn't bothered to do it a bit longer, and then I will frog it back, hoping that this yarn will be easy to frog, which it might not. It's pretty much sticking to it, so after blocking it might be hard to frog this. You will see in the footage of me wearing, my sleeve is at the moment here with the allowance for the bunching. I have noticed a lot with wear of my handmade sweaters that as much as we are knitting things to the perfect length, with wear everything starts bunching here and it's technically shortening the sleeves, and my sleeves end up being here, and that is so annoying for me. So I allowed extra 2 centimeters for this yarn to allow for the elbow crease bunching. So at the moment this sleeve is very long on me. That's why I'm doing mid-project block, and I will do it once I finish the body before I start the second sleeve, because I don't want to knit the whole other sleeve to this length only to have to shorten 2 sleeves. I would rather just frog one sleeve if needed. I thought I would prefer this length of the sleeve, but when I have tried it on, I have realized that I actually think that bracelet length would be perfect, maybe a bit longer than bracelet length. I also thought that once I bind off that this would curl up, but it's not curling because she asks you to bind off tightly, and that actually prevents from curling. You can see the neckline is curling more. You can tell the neckline is curling down a lot, and I thought that would happen with sleeves, but no, sleeves are not curling at the moment, so we'll see how this will go with blocking. I'm not planning to pin block this because there is no need for me to stretch this, to manipulate the shape. I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna soak it and lay it flat and see how the yarn will perform in its natural way. I guess that's how you say it. I don't expect this to stretch. stretch, because even though this is alpaca, the chain is cotton, so I hope it won't stretch over time. We'll see. I'm just gonna block it to better be safe than sorry and see how this yarn will perform with blocking. I will update you all of that on my next podcast. I mean, we are coming in some bad weather week. We will have a whole week of rain, so this being cotton and alpaca, I assume this is gonna dry for at least 3 days on blocking mats. I might actually put it on my mesh dryer just to speed up the drying process, because I still have a lot of knit to do, so it's gonna take me probably 3 or 4 days just to finish the body knitting, and then another 3 days for it to dry. So I hope by my next knitting podcast I will have this blocked and I will be able to update you with all of that. When it comes to needles, I'm working this on my C-Knit curve needles, and I have to say I love the way these needles feel. They have such a beautiful feel in my hand. They're so soft and slippery, and I love working with C-Knit needles. I do suggest them, especially with yarns like this. When it comes to knitting in the round, I like to have my regular needle in the size that is suggested, and then my left hand needle, this is my left hand needle, it stands like this. Let's show it this way. So this is my right hand needle, I have it in the suggested size, and my left hand needle I always have one size down just to give it a less friction and I can knit faster. So yeah, this is the update on my Ivy sweater. I'm actually noticing how dark it is here. It looks like I'm filming in the evening and it's not. It's 12 p.m. midday and it's so dark. I can see the reflection of my laptop because I have my laptop here with my notes and it's never reflecting this badly. So I do apologize for the lighting this time, but it's so bad, I know. This is such an easy pattern. It is very enjoyable knit. I would suggest you to try this pattern just for the yarn and the enjoyment of working with this yarn. It is so nice. That is just a quick update on this one. And then, since I have finished my socks and I needed small project on the go, I decided to cast on Oslo Hat because I have this yarn in my stash and this is where I am at. It's not a lot. I've casted this on last night and I think 1/3 to the double folded brim. So yeah, just a small progress when it comes to Oslo Hat. This is done in Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair and the colorway is Dusty Rose. If you have been watching me, then you know I don't react good to Knitting for Olive Mohair. We'll see how I will be able to wear this because this is actually gonna be on my head. I bought this with the intention to make myself an Oslo hat, but now that I'm looking into this color, I am not happy with the color. This is called Dusty Rose. For me, this is mauve. There is no rosy anything in this color, and the way camera is showing you, it's actually very accurate. Even with this gloomy weather, camera is showing an accurate color, and this is what it looks knit when these two yarns are worked together. I'm gonna also insert pictures so that you can see what it looks on their website and how deceiving their website is. I've noticed with a lot of colors that the colors that we get to see in real life and the colors that they have on their website, they are very, very different. This, in my opinion, is not Dusty Rose. This is just the mauve. Even maybe Dusty Mauve, if you want to call it like that. But this is not pink. This is turning more purple than pinkish. And I'm a bit disappointed with this color because I'm not sure if it suits me. I mean, it's not the worst. Not every color will suit me, especially not purple. So I don't know. Maybe this is even too bland for me. I don't know. It's a bit weird. I'm not happy with this color. It's not what I was hoping for. I'm gonna finish the project. I never give up on projects for the color. If I don't see myself wearing it, I'm gonna gift it to someone who thinks that they would wear this color better. So with Oslo Hat, I really enjoy this pattern because this is just the straightforward cast on. I have cast it on 3.5 mil needles, 112 stitches. I don't do provisional cast on or anything like that. I find that very fiddly and more complicated than just sewing on, or actually you're not sewing, you're just knitting to the cast on edge. I know for some people it can be fiddly because you really have to grab stitch by stitch and not miss anything. I don't have a problem with that. What I also did, I cast it on without mohair, and I did the first round without mohair. I don't think you will be able to see that just because it's not visible to camera. I can't even tell in real life that I have done that. So the cast on and the first round is without mohair, just so when I'm picking up stitches that I need to knit together later, I don't have to stress about picking two strands. I will only have one strand. I know when it comes to mohair and Oslo Hat, people are usually playing yarn chicken with mohair, and I'm aware of that. That's why that first round is without mohair, and I'm thinking either shortening hat or maybe doing a couple of rounds without mohair, especially the ones that we will do the turn and they will end up being pearl bumps. Maybe I will do those 5 or 6 rounds without mohair, especially because they will be sitting on my forehead, and maybe if I have less mohair touching my forehead, maybe I will be better, but we'll see. I still have a lot to go, just the plain knitting, until I come to knitting these two layers together, and it is just a mindless knit. I was actually knitting this amount while we were on 1 hour phone call with our mortgage broker, so it was totally mindless knit while you're doing something different, or if I'm in the car or something like that. That is just my new project on the go, because I always like to have something small on needles, and I feel like this might be my only, maybe I'll do one more hat this year and then I will be totally back into only sock knitting, because I want to do more socks this year rather than beanies. Also, when it comes to stitch definition on 3.5 mil needles, I really love the way this looks compared to when I did my sweater on 4.5 mil needles in the same yarn combination, the green one. That was definitely too big of a gauge for these two yarns held together. I do prefer this on 3.5. I know a lot of garments are knit on 4 mil needles. I think even 4 mil might be too open gauge, because you can see it's a bit gapey even on 3.5, so I am feeling like I will be frogging that garment and repurposing the yarn now that I see that the gauge can be a lot nicer on the smaller needles. And that is all when it comes to whips. I only have 2 whips at a time, and I'm gonna keep it like that. I don't want to overwhelm myself, because for the next 6 months my crochet business is gonna be busy, very busy, so I'm gonna knit less just to allow more time for my crochet business. And last time I said that I don't have any acquisitions. I mentioned that I got some yarn money that I will be spending in the future, but I totally forgot about the yarn that you have already seen if you have watched my Vlogmas. By the way, my Vlogmas is on my old channel, which is my crochet channel. I have moved all of my content to my new knit channel just so I can separate 2 crafts. So in that Vlogmas I showed you 2 skeins from Arcane Fiber Works that I didn't see. I was showing you blindly because even though I bought them for myself, I actually forgot by the time they came here from Canada. I forgot what they look like, and I didn't want to see them. I still wanted to be surprised when I opened them on the Christmas day. I forgot to show them last time because they were a part of my acquisition, and here they are. So this is the first skein. This is gonna be for my husband. I will be making socks out of these yarns. I know I said I don't want to spend a lot of money on my socks, but occasionally I do want to treat myself to some beautiful yarns. So this is headed out to sea. It is their standard fingering Merino nylon superwash sock yarn, so it has 400 meters in 100 grams, and this is very nice and soft. I love the colorway. My husband chose this for himself, and I'm looking forward to casting this on. I think these are gonna be my next one to cast on, even though I'm still thinking, should I knit the first socks for my husband in the expensive yarn, and I still don't know his stitch count, gauge, fit or anything, or should I maybe try something on a cheaper yarn and save this for when I know the recipe for his socks? I don't know. I'm really tempted to cast this on just because I want to work with this yarn, but I'm not sure if I want to risk and for these not to fit him. I mean, I can always frog them. I'm a process knitter, so I feel like even if I frog them and then re-knit them, it should be fine. Or maybe I should start with mine socks, because I also bought one skein for myself. This is the one that I bought for myself. This is more like autumn colors. Like I mentioned, I'm soft autumn, and these soft colors really suit me. I'm not sure is it important to have matching color palette in the socks, but oh well. So here is the tag, and these are called Serenity. I love the way this looks. It's really nice and soft autumny palette, so maybe I should make myself first ones. I mean, I have to start on working out his recipe for socks somewhere, and I don't have any cheap yarn in the stock at the moment, so I'm just gonna start with this. This is gonna be my next project once I finished Oslo Hat, and then we'll see. He did try a couple of my socks that I already have, so I feel like 64 stitch count will work for him too. All I need to figure out is the length, and that is very easily adjustable, so we'll just try. I think this is gonna be my next cast on after the Oslo Hat is done. And that is it. Yes, this is what I bought myself for Christmas. I just wanted to treat it myself, and it's interesting to see that he offers a free shipping for only one skein to Australia, which is insane because shipping is very expensive, and I just couldn't justify ordering one skein from Canada to Australia, so I had to buy two. I don't plan on filming plans video for 2026 because every yarn that I have bought last year is in the plans for 2026. My goal was to buy yarn, try yarn, test yarn, and then this year I will be working through all of that yarn. That's why I don't plan on filming any knitting plans, because first 6 months of this year are gonna be slow knitting for me because I have a very busy period with my business and my market prepping, and we might have a busy season personally, which we'll see. Nothing is determined yet, but it might get very busy at some point, so I don't want to overwhelm myself with knits. I'm gonna always have one small and one large project on my needles and work through my stash, work through my Ravelry queue. Everything that I plan to knit this year is already in my Ravelry queue, and I will just pick and choose from there and work through my stash. Last but not least, I want to talk what caught my eye. Like I mentioned last time, as Tash from Mostly Knitting is doing this, I would like to add something that has caught my eye every week, and this week I watched Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, can I tell you, Melissa is very fun. I love her. She is a cracker. She is so funny, and she's full of knowledge, and she has a lot of experience with knitting, and she loves to knit color work, and that's what caught my eyes because she was knitting on a winter soul sweater by Dorothy Officiers. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I apologize if that is not correct. There is also a knit along going around with the winter soul sweater. I also saw Yeji from Handmade Co also knitting on this sweater, but that sweater didn't caught my eye because of the color. Neji chose red and off-white, and those are just not my colors. Sometimes colors needs to speak to me to attract me to the garment. And when I saw Melissa's one, which was like an off-white grayish with a contrast, I think it was like a dark gray contrast, that really caught my eye, and it looks like a very much beginner-friendly project. Like I mentioned in my last episode, I want to make a color work sweater this year, my first color work, and I want something beginner-friendly. It has to be in the rounds. I'm not planning on purling with color work for my first project. She's also using Drops Air, which is very quick knit because it is a blown yarn, and I think it's worsted weight yarn. I have put it on my Ravelry queue and I'm hoping I'm gonna knit that one. What I'm also planning to do, I want to play more with colors. Even though that is very high contrast, I'm gonna still stick to the high contrast, but I want to do it in a pastel colors. I want to choose off-white or light gray base color, and every row of the color work do a different tone of pastel color. I just want to make it more colorful and fun and enjoyable knit. That is just my plans, and that is what caught my eyes. I'm not casting this anytime soon. I don't have yarn, I don't have pattern. It is just something that caught my eye and that I'm thinking for the future plans and projects. It looks really beautiful. I probably won't be even casting this on by the time this knit along is done, but I'm not here for knit along. I'm here for the sweater because it looks beautiful, it fits really nicely, and it is something that would suit my style even if I make it colorful. So yeah, thank you Melissa for showing that, because that sweater is really nice, and she also mentioned that she plans on making a couple of more of them, so I'm looking forward to see all of that. And that is all for this week's podcast. Thank you so much if you have come from my old channel and decided to follow along on this new channel. I really appreciate. This channel is very much a baby channel, and I feel it's gonna take a while for people to come over from one channel to this channel, and that is all fine. Like I said, I don't have plans to grow this channel like I do for my crochet channel. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this because I want to share my needs. I have no one to talk with about my needs, and this is me expressing my love for knitting and my love for fibers, and I like talking to you in my comments, and this is what matters to me. So thank you if you are still following me around, and until next time, happy knitting.